In this video, I'm going to give you 6 tips for keeping your feet warm while you're camping, hiking, and backpacking in the outdoors. My name's Aaron Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and professional adventurer. I've enjoyed a lot of cold feet over the years, and in this video, I'm going to give you 6 nice little techniques to keep your tootsies warm when you're in the outdoors. The first tip is to keep your body out of the wind as much as possible, because once you stand in the wind, that convective force of the wind blowing across your body drains heat away faster than just about anything. About the only thing that's faster in draining heat out of your body is if you're in an icy pond or laying on ice, because convection can make you incredibly cold super quickly. So make sure you do everything you can to stay out of the wind as long as possible, because if you keep your body warm, then chances are your feet won't be warm. Because if your feet are cold and your body's chilly, you have virtually 0 chance of getting those feet warm anytime soon. The second tip in this video is the corollary to that, is keep your feet out of the wind if possible. Anytime you need to be out of your tent and you're skiing and you're hiking, and you have the chance to just hide behind anything, even if it's just a little suitcase like this or anything, just to keep your feet there when the wind's coming this direction or whatever the case might be, that can make all the difference in keeping your feet warm, because by keeping your feet warm, that air, or keeping your feet out of the wind, that air blowing over won't chill your feet as badly. You'd be surprised how cold it can get if you just only have your feet in the wind for whatever reason. It does happen. So even if you have to have your body in the wind, like tip number 1 said to stay out of, even if there's no way out of that, like when I was in the Antarctic plateau and it was blasting, when I stood behind my sleds, it made a big difference in keeping my feet warm. That is a great tip. The third tip is where you place your tent. If you have the opportunity, try and place your tent near trees or a lot of shrubbery if possible, because trees actually re-radiate infrared heat to the environment during the night. Now, it seems pretty counterintuitive that trees being so cold can actually generate heat. That's actually true, because if you look around a tree that's coated in frost in the morning, you'll notice that right around the base of the tree, that's where the frost melts off first, because trees actually generate a tiny amount of infrared heat that re-radiates to the environment. So much so enough to actually melt off frost in the environment. So that's tip number 3 to keep your feet warm, is place your tent where you can get warm. And if it's near a tree, that's a great way to do it. Before I get to tip number 4, I just want to ask you to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. That helps me out a lot, and you'll learn more about outdoors, adventure, and travel. And also check out the link below to the playlist of these 15 videos in this series on keeping your feet warm, and check out the link to my book, How to Keep Your Feet Warm in the Cold. It's got over 90 different tips on keeping your feet toasty so you never have to suffer with frozen feet. The next tip, tip number 4 in this video, is when you're in your tent, do everything you can to keep your feet in your sleeping bag or in booties at all times. So if for some reason you have to take off your socks and you just got to get your feet out for a minute, just immediately the moment you take your feet out of your boots or socks, just put your feet right into your sleeping bag. I know it seems absurd, but when it's minus 45 degrees and just moving your hand around the air literally feels like you've got your hand in an ice bucket, it can make all the difference between having frozen feet or not. I also recommend, I've got these down booties from Western Mountaineering. I'll put a link below. If I can't get my foot in the sleeping bag for some reason, I always make sure to keep my feet inside these booties. And for extra warmth bonus points, I put my booties in here. And that makes a huge difference in how comfortable and warm my feet are when I'm camping in the outdoors in extremely cold conditions. Now, tip number 5, if you happen to be in super moist or humid locations, Pacific Northwest, Alaskan coast, or even the Arctic Ocean, the air can be incredibly humid, and you might need to invest in a heavyweight synthetic bag. See, even though down bags are spectacular, I mean, this is the Western Mountaineering Megalite bag, and it's done very, very well. But if it's really humid, I'm going to have a really miserable night and cold feet. So consider where you're going and that you might need to invest in a sleeping bag that's synthetic and then use a down overliner. I've got more discussion in my book, How to Keep Your Feet Warm in the Cold. So there's some finer points to that to get that through. But if you need a synthetic bag to deal with the humidity, because down is terrible for keeping you warm once it's wet, that's something you might have to do. And tip number 6 in this video is when you're in your tent, at all costs, if nothing else, even if you keep your backside on a jacket, is keep your feet on something. Do not let your feet contact the ground, whether it's frozen or ice or glacier or whatever, because your feet will freeze and the environment will conduct heat away so quickly. So you want to keep your feet on foam or on your pad at all costs, because what will happen is, with an air mat, if you just keep your feet on there, the air mat will actually compress and your feet will actually end up contacting the cold ground. So you don't want to do that. So you really need to make sure you have your socks on, keep your feet on a foam pad, and pretend like a little kid, like it's lava. Because even though, I touch it for a moment, when your feet are already cold and you're chilled and you're tired, that can make all the difference in keeping your feet warm and you comfortable on your outdoor trips. My name is Aaron Linsdale. I'm a polar explorer and professional adventurer. Please like, comment, and subscribe on the video. And again, check out links below to how to keep your feet warm in the cold, and also the 15 videos in this series on keeping your feet warm in the environment. Thank you very much for watching, and keep your feet warm.